Okay, so let me just talk first of all about this crowning energy. The crowning energy is something that you are thinking about and something that the person or the situation that you are thinking about. So we have here an air sign. So this is an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. This is the Knight of Swords. This is someone who's I want to say like they're very intelligent. They generally have a good heart, very articulate. But I feel like they can be a little bit stubborn when it comes to, you know, their opinions, their beliefs, their thoughts. So once they have their opinion made up about a specific course of action or a specific idea, they never sway, and they can be a little bit difficult to argue with, to convince, to talk to, because they're a little bit dogmatic, and they can be a little bit tunnel vision. So it's almost like they're examining a situation from their own perspective rather than being able to put themselves in other people's shoes to understand a situation holistically. So I feel like you have this person that you're dealing with, and we have here as well the Emperor, and the Emperor is showing up in the reverse position. So I feel like this is someone who is incredibly stubborn, and they might be a little bit tunnel vision. I feel like they are honest, but they might, you know, withhold information or tell you like half truths in order to persuade or distort a situation so that you see things from their point of view. So I feel like there's a lot of power struggles and conflict that you have with this person, but I don't feel like it's getting out of hand yet. I just feel like there are definitely ideological like differences between the two of you. You feel like they need to slow down. You want to slow the relationship down, or you want to tell them like you need to slow down and observe things from a more holistic standpoint rather than being so fixed and so dogmatic in the way that they do things and in the things that they believe in. So I feel like you are dealing with this, and I also feel like generally Capricorns, you are very go with the flow. And so I feel like this month is a really important time for you to put your foot down. So the Emperor, I feel like this can also be your energy where you're very like, you know, rather than taking control, rather than putting your foot down and telling the other person, this is the way that it's going to be. I feel like you're swept off your feet by this person. You're going along for the ride, and it can create a little bit of problems in the future. And let me explain why. We have the same air sign. So this is Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra showing up in the reverse position, as well as the Four of Cups. So I feel as if you're swept up for the ride, or if they're moving things too fast, or the way that they're behaving is not in accordance with the things that you value and the things that you believe, but you still stay in this relationship, or you don't give them a piece of your mind, it can get to to a situation where they start to hold back more of the truth. They start to distort the truth, or they start to present to you a story that is, you know, not entirely true in order to get you to feel a specific way. And so the power struggle and the conflict, I feel, will escalate in the future. And that's when you're going to be here at this point with the Four of Cups, where you are re-examining whether or not this is somebody that is good for you to be with. And I also feel like when you disagree with this person, they can take it very personally, and they can also turn their sword and, you know, attack you. Not like physically, but I feel like they can turn their swords and kind of cut you down by telling you that, oh, you're not being supportive, that you're not, you know, understanding what I'm saying. But I feel like there might be some issues when it comes to the way that they think, the way that they behave, and the way that they kind of maneuver and distort the truth to get what they want. So I feel like you are, if you are in a relationship here with an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, you're doing some massive reassessment. Whether or not this is still worth staying in, whether or not this is going to, you know, work out long term for you. So there's some major reassessment here. What I have at the center of the spread, once again, is the Page of Swords, but I feel like this is an energy. This is like information, news, communication coming through, and you're not really sure what to do. So I feel like you're not really reacting. You have the text message or the email or, the phone call from the other person. And you're just like, what do they want? What do they want? What are their intentions? Because I feel like they might just contact you in a very nonchalant way. Like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? And you're just like, I don't know how to respond to that. So I feel like you're going to take your time to really mull it over before you give any type of a response. And I feel like the past interaction that you have with this person that's communicating with you, there was possibly a stable relationship that you had together, possibly a marriage where you both, share, you both might have had a marriage contract, or you both might have shared a living situation together, sharing space, like a living arrangement together. But this is a romantic partner and the relationship was quite significant. And I also feel as well, you're not going to know what to do with the information. And I do sense like in the past, that's how they reeled you in. They always just, like nonchalantly contacted you. And they might just say like, they might just say like, hey, what are you doing? And I feel like you go back to that situation here with the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups in the reverse is going back to a situation that brought about a lot of sorrow. There might have been a lot of power struggles, a lot of disputes, a lot of mistrust, I feel. But I feel like the relationship in the past, it was very good. Okay. It was very stable. And you feel like, I feel like you overlook a lot of this person's flaws. And a lot of it has to do with, just the way that they're exciting. I feel like they're exciting. They don't hold on to grudges. But I also feel like the way that they communicate and the way that they behave might be a little bit childish. And it's kind of like somebody who just runs through life without examining their course of action, without, having a game plan, or without doing a lot of introspection about their actions and their past consequences. So it's somebody who might be considered a little bit irresponsible. Okay. And so in the past, you might have always have gone back to the situation. And now you're just like, I want to make a clean break, but I don't know how to do that. So you are taking extra time to really reassess. The foundation is something that you already know. We have here the Five of Wands. And the Five of Wands is conflict. It's perpetual. It's not seeing eye to eye. It's being so different from each other where harmony and true stability can't really happen. Okay. And I feel like you feel very, very stuck as to what to do. Some of you, financially, you might be in a relationship with another person here with the Two of Pentacles. And for financial considerations, even though you don't get along, even though things are not as it should be, you're not able to get yourself out of this situation. For some of you, you might be dealing with a fire sign here, a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. And this situation feels very disempowering because you feel very stuck. You feel almost as if they're always verbally attacking you, or they're very negative and they can be very antagonistic. And you feel like everything that you do is not good enough. You feel like, what can I do in this situation? How can I make it better? How can I resolve the conflict here? How can I, make them see things from my point of view, or to at least consider my point of view? So Capricorns, there are some relationships here that we need to examine. And last month during that major, massive solar eclipse, I feel like a lot of people have come to terms with their significant relationships. And they've had to let relationships go. So I feel that you might have broken up with somebody and there's still communication from them and you're trying to figure out what to do. Because what you know is that this relationship is very conflict driven. There's a lot of power struggles. This person, they're exciting, but they might, be a little bit manipulative, or they might distort the truth. I'm seeing a lot of air signs, and I'm also seeing fire signs as well, okay, in this spread with the Emperor and also the Five of Wands. But for all intent and purposes, it could also be a water sign too. And so you have to really put yourself first here, and you have to really look at a situation through, the lens of longevity. Like, where is this going 5, 10 years from now? Or even 5, 10 months from now? Can I be with that person? And it seems to me like you already know the answers, but it also feels to me like you're very, you feel like if I don't fix this, I ultimately fail. So you're very patient about wanting to fix things, and you feel that you should fix it. But, this is not really your battle.